Jack, partner with another mate. A steady jack, and I'm taking whatever I'm gonna take. The whole bag is like.
My studio computer had 298 plugins on it. I don't use all of them, so I just spent the last hour deleting a whole bunch, keeping a bunch of the others. You guys can flame and roast me in the comments to let me know if I made the right decisions or not. Actually, just a quick one. If you subscribe to the newsletter, that full list of plugins, I just realized I could do this after the fact, is I can make each of the plugins a clickable link where you can download the presets I have for each of those plugins. So I'm creating that now as I'm editing this video, so that way you guys can get the same starting presets I have for the plugins I use daily. Now let's get back to the video. Start at the top. Acoustica. What are we going to keep? Well, Celestial we're going to trash. I haven't used Celestial since I installed it. Diamond, we're going to keep. That's the Diamond Saturator by Luca Predalesi. The Ivory, we're going to trash. What else have we got here? Lift, we're going to keep. I'm going to pull up Plugin Doctor for you guys to have a look at. And Scarlet, we're going to trash because I don't use Scarlet. So the thing with the Diamond Dynamic Saturator, it is really good for 808s and kick drums, especially even on final stereo master buses. If you're going density 2 and then dial up the expansion, you can get this really interesting click or tackiness to the kick drum that makes it poke out of the speakers. So we're keeping Diamond Dynamic Saturator. Let's go over to Plugin Doctor. Now, let's put this all back at default, okay? This is how the Lift 3 looks at default. What I want to do is turn on the clipper, and this is something I've never seen another clipper do. You're going to put that out to max, go in to mode number 3, okay? Now take a look at this waveform as I shape this. Okay, well, let's just zoom out for a second. See what happens at the peaks there? They start to invert and fold back in a really weird way. And when you do this on a snare drum, when you do this on a kick drum, you get a very, very unique sort of snappiness and tone. And it's just a cool part of the clipper that I've never seen on any other plugin. So Diamond Lift 3, I think up to Lift 4. This mode 3 on the clipper, I'm keeping. So that's good. Celestial, Ivory, Scarlet, we're going to get rid of. What else? What's next? So we've got Audio Movers. Audio Movers, Listen to, we're going to trash that only because I don't use it. I don't need to stream audio all that much to clients, and I've installed it once, I haven't used it again. If I find a use case for it, it might come back, but I'm just going to get rid of anything I'm not using. The Avid plugins, I actually use a lot of these. The BF76, I don't use actually. So the BF76, I'd get rid of, but it's just a default plugin here. The Deverb, I don't use. The Dyne 3 compressor limiter, I actually use quite often for sidechaining. It's a really simple sidechain process. You just select the sidechain, you filter the signal. You can even monitor the signal by clicking this button here, and you're good to go. So we're going to keep that one. As in like that, I'm not going to put that on the list because I'm not deleting the default plugins. EQ 7-band, I use this often. That's really cool. The Lo-Fi, okay? That's another one on this list. I use this a lot. So Andrew Sheps actually talks about using this. You just use the module, the distortion module here, anywhere from 0.2 to 0.9 on a kick or a snare, and it really helps it pop in a nice way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit more pronounced, 0.7, and take a listen to this kick drum when I turn it on and off. And what it's actually doing is it's adding even order harmonics to that kick drum. So it just helps it pop. It gives it a little bit of harshness just to make the transient come out of the speaker a bit, which is really nice. I am definitely keeping Lo-Fi. That is a definite keeper. I don't use Maxim. I use the Mod Delay 3. I do use the Mod Delay 3 quite often, and I'll show you that in a second. I'm just looking at the rest of it. No, I do not use anything else. So the Mod Delay 3, I actually have in my vocal bus here. I've got this lead vocal in. And on here, it's part of my widening technique. I've got the Mod Delay 3, 32 milliseconds on the left, 58 milliseconds on the right. And basically, this just adds a little bit of width in parallel to the vocals. It's actually really nice. So take a listen to this. I'll play this through.
Jack, partner with another mate. a steady jack, and I'm taking whatever I'm gonna take. The whole bag is I got the rings, don't play with me. I'm in the mountains, come and
Simple. So mod delay 3, definitely in. What other plugins do we got here? Let's have a look. We've done the Avid Baby Audio. Now, I got these as NFR licenses from Baby Audio, and the ones which I use are, I don't use the Comeback Kid, I don't use Crystalline. I Heart New York, the original one, New York is getting kept. I think the Comeback Kid and Crystalline are going because I just don't use them. The Parallel Aggressor, I never used it. Smooth Operator, never used it. Spaced Out, never used it. Super VHS, never use it. Tape, I do use, and I actually think I use tape on this mix. It's got this sort of lo-fi, gritty quality, so I wanted to add this really destroyed drum sound to the kick to make it a bit more lo-fi. So take a listen to this tape on and off the Parallel channel. So we're just monitoring the Parallel at the moment. But listen to it with all the drums in. When I turn this Parallel channel on and off, it completely changes the sound of the kick drum, and it's quite a nice creative effect. It's very subtle. It just adds a nice texture to the kick drum, which I really enjoy. So we're keeping tape, but we're getting rid of the other ones that was from Baby Audio. Salamone, Melodyne, you're going to keep Melodyne. You'd be silly not to keep Melodyne. Cradle, the God Particle. We're keeping that. I love the God Particle. Love it. It's on the mix bus for this, but I'll just show you my go-to setting. It's simply 108, limiter off, and then we drive the input into here, and we can switch between whether we're going to be compressing the multiband or having it off using the side chain. So we just go internal, external, and flick them around. That's pretty much it to that plugin. What else have we got here? We've got quite a bit to go through. DDMF, Meta plugin we're keeping. So Meta plugin is a keep. Meta plugin synth, I've never used it, so we're getting rid of it. Meta plugin synth. Plugin Doctor we're keeping, because the Plugin Doctor you can actually run natively in the session if you want to see like what you're doing on the actual source material. Now, Fab Filter, I've got a lot of their demos installed because I like to try a lot of stuff. So what are we going to keep? We're going to keep C2, not because I use it an awful lot. I have to be honest, I've used it twice since I bought it, but it's got a lot of features that if I wanted the flexibility, it's nice to have it there. Pro L2, I'm going to just put FF here. Pro L2 is a keeper. Pro MB is a keeper. Pro Q3 is a keeper. The rest of it, I don't use. I don't use micro. I don't use one. I don't use the DS. I don't use the gate. The original limiter, I don't need anymore. Q2, don't need. Pro R is actually a really good reverb, which I demoed, but I just have another reverb I use. Saturn, we're going to get rid of. Simplon, never used it. Timeless, never used it. Twin, never used it. Volcano, never used it. Because I've got other things I use for all those tools. Now, Good Hertz, I'm going to get rid of all of them, and I'll tell you why I got Good Hertz. I got Good Hertz because I wanted to do some mid-side demonstrations, I'm pretty sure, and then installed everything else. Where is it? They got the dither, can opener, time shift, mid-side, the mid-side matrix. I got it because one of the mastering courses I put together, I wanted to give people a free alternative to the BX digital stuff I was using to set up mid-side matrices. I'm not going to use the Good Hertz plugins. I just used it for that single instance. So we're going to get rid of them all. I don't use them anymore. I just use them for that section. The Hoffer, I can get rid of all the plugins because I don't use any of the Hoffer plugins. Hornets, the Hornet harmonics I do use. That's actually a really... Hornet harmonics I use in my Meta plugin Stereo Widener because I can do the perfect wave shaping and pick the actual order harmonics I want in there. So that's good. IK Multimedia, I do not use. I'm pretty sure I downloaded the IK Multimedia for some tests when I was doing the not the Barry Porter. It's Bob. No. What's the name? The Sontec 432. I'm pretty sure they have the TRS Master EQ 432, which I was demoing alongside the actual Sontec EQ plugin to see how they compared, and it just installed all those plugins on the system, so I don't use any of them, so they're all gone. Infected Mushroom Wider. I know there's an update to this one, so I should probably get the update, but I'm definitely keeping Wider. Wider is awesome plugin. If you want to make something wide, there you go. It's pretty mono compatible too. So this is a plugin, and it's free that I encourage people to get because it's actually really good. Now, Isotope, actually, can I show? All right, actually, you know what? I got to skip over the Isotope stuff because there's stuff in there you guys can't see. I'm keeping the Isotope stuff though. That's all I can say. Klanghelm MJUK, I'm keeping this. I did a whole video comparing my Manly Varimu to the MJUK to see how much, like a $6,000 compressor versus a $60 piece of software. And I can say, where's the setting? Do I have the setting? The user setting, the Varimu. This particular setting, if you copy my settings here, this reacts very closely, this setting here, and it tracked very closely to my stereo Varimu. Okay, my actual Manly Varimu. I'm keeping that because sometimes on a big project where I want recallability and I don't want to be using the analog chain for it and I want something that's a little bit more flexible for automation, I'm actually using this plugin. That's a steal. I think it's $49. It's cheap. It's fucking 10 times, 100 times cheaper than whatever the I'd have to pay for this if I had to get a new one. So that is a definite keeper. What else is here? Lambda Sessions, you might not realize it, but that's what I use to connect all my audio to OBS, so I'm keeping that. Next one, Leapwing Audio. I'm keeping Dyne 1. Dyne 1, I paid for that license, just so you guys know. But Root 1 and Stage 1 NFRs, which I tried out, and they did what they said on the packaging, but they never made it through to my workflow. So Root 1 and Stage 1, I'm going to trash, which is fine. The Malda Production Suite, the M Oscilloscope, is the only oscilloscope I could find that had an AAX plugin that would run in Pro Tools, so I have to keep that. Oscilloscope, which is good. Meter plugs, Precision AB. I just started using that this year, and it's done wonders. That's my A-Beam plugin. Metric Halo, the Sontec 432, you're staying with me. Mixland, you probably haven't seen me use this on the channel. I got it to review, and then I got frustrated at it because there was a glitch in it. So I'm like, I don't really want to review it because at the time I only had bad things to say about it. But since I've come around, and I'll show you the glitch, and if anybody at Mixland who developed this plugin can explain to me why it's being so glitchy, I'm using this in mixing, just so you know. I'm going to keep this. This is Subloom Mixland. I'm keeping this plugin because it's really good. It's a really good plugin. The one problem is it just cramps up my GPU. I don't know what happens. As soon as I start pressing play when the plugin is displayed, look what happens to all my meters. They all get stuck. But then what happens is if I get out of this and press play, everything works normal. So it's a really good plugin. I'm keeping it because I do use this on kick drums, but it just confuses me why it has that glitch. And that's why I never made a video on it, because I didn't want to put out a video where I was a little bit pissed off at something. So yeah, no, not going to happen. Mix Up, I have no clue what that is. So I'm going to trash it. I'll just be honest. If I don't know what it is, it means I haven't used it. And I'm doing 5-6 sessions a day. And if I'm not using it, you're out. The Nugan stuff. That was my first true peak limiter I got, the ISL2. And it's going to go in the bin. I bought that years ago, but I never used it, period. Like I used it when I first got it for like probably 2-3 dozen sessions, and then it just went to the wayside. Now, Plugin Alliance, I'm going to be a bit like surgical here. The black box, I need to keep for recall. I've used it on mixers and masters in the last 12 months, and if they need to be recalled, I need to have that available. The clean sweep can go. I don't need the clean sweep. The SSL console is staying. Fuck, I use that all the time for my mixing. 4000E. The BX Digital V3s are going. It has been, they're great plugins, the BX Digital V3. I use this from V1 back in the day as an assistant, but now it's just not part of my workflow. So bye-bye. The BX meter I'm keeping because I do use the solo functions for the left, right, mid, side channel on. The BX Rock Rack V3 player, I don't know what that is, so you'll go into the bin. BX Rock Rack V3. BX Solo I'll keep because it has a similar function to the meter, which is good. The Alicio Niver filter is a really good free plugin, but I just don't use it. The Mag EQ2 and 4 I'm getting rid of. 2 Mag EQ4 and the Vertigo VSC2 I do not need, period, which is fine. Plugin Boutique, Big Kick, haven't used it, so you're out. Plugins that knock, I'm keeping that. You'd be surprised. I'm using that a lot in my mixes. That's actually a really, really, really super good plugin, which I'm really excited about because I get to use it often. The Sennheiser Ambec Audit, I don't know why that's... I think I installed it to try some spatial stuff even before Dolby was like a thing. I'm not happy with it because I used it once and that was it. Singam Audio, the Butte limiter is in the bin. Never used it. I think I bought it and I didn't use it, or I downloaded it for free because it wasn't enough money for me to remember having spent a great deal on it. Standard clip. Now, where do you reckon that's going? Of course I'm keeping that. Standard clip, I'm keeping. SonarWorks, keeping. I do use SonarWorks. Not that I need the plugin, but I'm not going to start fucking around with it on my system and deleting things in case I stuff something up. Sonable, Smart Comp, that was interesting. That I got that because I made a commitment to buy every advertisement that was sent to me, and then I made a video on it. And I don't even think the license is on this computer anymore because I gave away the license. It's a cool plugin, but I just don't use it. So Sonic Academy Kick 2, you're in the bin. Kick 2, Sound Radix, the Auto Align. I'm keeping both Auto Align 1 and Auto Align 2. The reason being is Auto Align 1, I really like that I can choose what source is feeding what, and Auto Align 2 sometimes gives me some interesting results where it uses its AI to figure out the phase relationship. So one's manual, one's auto, so I'm keeping that. Sound Toys, what am I keeping? Oh, yeah, you keep Decapitator. You must keep the Decapitator. And Echo Boy. I actually like little micro shift as well because I use that in my like stereo effects on some reverbs and stuff. But the Primal Taps and the Crystallizer can go to the bin. Let's just do that. Primal Tap and Crystallizer. Steven Slate Trigger, you know it's here. Trigger, the VSX plugin, I'm keeping only because I have the headphones, but I haven't used the headphones since I reviewed them. Like, I've got them, but I never worked on them since that review. So, yeah, that... Don't think because I'm keeping it, I still use the headphones. I don't use the headphones. I use my speakers and the Odysseys here. But we'll leave it on the system. TDR. Oh, TDR. Okay. So, TDR Infrasonic. You are in the bag. Actually, all the TDR stuff. TDR Kotelnikov, TDR Limiter, TDR Nova. Simulate is insane. And the Slick EQ I do not use. I can't say I use it. TDR Slick EQ. Okay. Tone Projects. Basslane Pro. Do I use it? Yes, I use it a lot. Calvin. I don't use an awful lot. And we're going to be hypercritical. I'm going to get rid of Calvin only because I don't use it. Like, I used it a lot in the start and then I found other tools which I preferred to use, so I'm not using it as much. Michelangelo. Yes, we're keeping that. And Unisum we're definitely keeping. Cool. 2 big ears. Don't know what it's for. Stereo second order ambisonics. Don't give a shit for that right now. Two big ears, you're out. Valhalla vintage verb, you're in. Verb. Voxengo, span, you're out. I think we're cutting like half our plugins here. Waves audio, oh man. Okay. Is there a way to get rid of like, how do we even sort through this? Because I got every single Waves audio plugin. Oof, I didn't think about this. Aphex Vintage Exciter. I'm just going to write down what I'm going to keep. Aphex Vintage Exciter. We're going to keep... CLA 2A. CLA 76. DBX 60, 160. I don't know. The DSer is pretty good. I know it's pretty stock standard, but I don't mind it. Even the Renaissance DS is good. The Doubler 4, a Doubler 2 and 4. And 4 are good. There's so many plugins here. H delay. I don't use the H delay because I use Echo Boy. People might find that weird. I don't use any of those. Don't use them. JJP. Oh yeah. The Kramer Pi I use. That's a pretty cool compressor. Kramer tape. L1, L2 I use. L1, L2. The Linear EQ I don't use. The Linear Multiband I don't use. Low Air I don't use. Maserati don't use. Max Volume don't use. I don't use a lot of these plugins. Max Bass. No. The One Knobs I don't use. Am I missing something? It's not a lot I'm using here. PS22, no. Don't use them. None of them. Oh, all the Renaissance compressors, the R compressor, R bass, Red 17 I use, Red 37 I use, the Rec 2, 4, and 6 I use all those EQs. Verb, sometimes I'll really. Where is the RDS? RDS? I didn't include that. Still use that. What else is there? The S1 image is pretty good actually. S1 Imager. The Shep 73 I use. Shep 73, Sibilant, Silk, Sound Shifter, Space Rider. No. Don't use the SSL strips from them. Studio Rack. I actually do like setting things up in Studio Rack, which is pretty cool. Subalign, don't use. The King's microphones, no. Talk Tracked, don't use any of them. Vocal Rider, I do use. You know I use it. And that's everything from Waves. Cool. Now let's go to Zephyr Records. OTT. I do not use OTT. I do not use it. And Ulean loudness meter. I do not use. All right. There's my list of plugins that I'm going to be trashing, keeping. Mind you, there's probably about 100 plugins in the trash that aren't in there because, well, it's going to be easier for me to pull these all out and pick the ones I'm keeping and throw back into this folder here.